It's the new buzzword in food, plant-based. Wherever you look, whoever you ask, it's all about having more plant-based food in your diet. But what exactly does it mean? And what are the foods that count as plant-based? Is it vegan or vegetarian? And why is it good for us? On Food Matters today, we ask an expert to explain the facts around plant-based eating and to give us easy, cost-effective ways of incorporating it into our daily meals. Registered dietitian Mayuri Bowen, a vegetarian herself, is passionate about educating people about healthy nutritional behavior. Mayuri, thanks so much for your time. So what's all the fuss about plant-based diets? Why is it seen as a healthier alternative?
A plant-based diet is based on foods derived from plants, including vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and fruits with few or no animal products. And, people choose plant-based diets for various reasons, such as ethical concerns for animal welfare, the environmental impact on how our food is sourced, as well as general health and wellness. Now, there have been studies also to show that following a plant-based diet is generally low in saturated fat, which means it will help in managing weight, but also in terms of reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease.
We sometimes hear of vegans or vegetarians suffering from ailments because they don't make up for the proteins lost by not eating animal products. What is the best way to ensure that you still get the protein you need when switching to a plant-based diet?
So again, the term plant-based diet doesn't mean full-on vegetarian or full-on vegan, and it's really just by including a lot more plant sources, like I've mentioned earlier, into your diet. And I think the first way of introducing that is doing a meat-free Monday, for example, and that already is a start in introducing sort of more legumes and beans and chickpeas into your diet. Now, you very well can meet requirements through a plant-based diet, and I think it's not necessarily having to always have a high protein meal sort of at lunch or at breakfast or at dinner, but throughout the day. If you're planning properly, you definitely can meet, your protein requirements. And there are options, again, like meat alternatives like soya burgers or soya sausages, as well as tofu.
I want to get to the tips of incorporating that into our diet in just a moment. But firstly, are plant-based foods not very expensive?
Actually not. And I think, again, it comes back and down to planning your meals well in advance. And again, it's looking at the promotions in the supermarket. So what I've seen recently is that you can actually get fruits and vegetables at a relatively decent price, but also having to look at, buying smartly. So instead of doing tinned chickpeas, beans, and lentils, rather buy the dried versions, because again, it will extend and last for longer, as well as growing your own vegetable garden. And I know it sounds like hard work, but it's also good for the family and for the kids to get involved.
Now, give us some tips on how to introduce more plant-based foods into our diets, especially for those who might not yet be ready to take the plunge or to cut out all animal products just yet.
So interestingly enough, I read an article just the other day, and as South Africans, we generally don't eat enough fruits and vegetables and legumes. And what the survey had shown was that 41% is where South Africans are eating starch, mainly bread, and 26% is meat, being only chicken, and only 13% is vegetables, and again, and 3% being legumes. So again, it just shows that people are not including a lot more veg into their diet. And the most easiest way to do that is by adding a lot more other vegetables in sauces. So if you're making a spaghetti bolognese, you can literally just add baby marrow, mushrooms, carrots, onions, a lot more to it to add that bulk into your sauces. If you're making a stew, for example, adding lentils and beans, it increases fiber as well as your protein content in that meal. If you're into smoothies in the morning, again, adding spinach, cucumber, beetroot, any veg actually that you would like. And again, really do it gradually. And I think it's really much on progress as opposed to perfection. And getting an insight on how your family is adapting to it, I think is very important.
So I guess that clears it up. In short, plant-based eating involves eating anything that didn't have a mother. And adding more of this kind of food to your plate is not a new trend or fad diet. It's how you should be eating naturally. Just ask our ancestors.